Hi, it's Bipasha here, your favorite existential artist on the internet. And Life's Great and Other Lies is making a return finally. It's been like, I think, 3 months ever since I have posted the first episode, and I am guilty of not posting another one. And life happened, and whatever. I was switching colleges. I finally got into the college that I really wanted to get into. I am Ranchi, and yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. There are a few things that I want to cover, and this episode has like a few pointers that I'm going to hopefully go through. First of all, name reveal. I don't know, the whole discussion about actually how my name is Bipasha and not Maya, and why I kept it as Maya to begin with. The second thing is, I remember someone asked me in either my DMs or on one of the like question things that I did on Instagram, how to improve your sketching. So we'll talk about that. Then a question that I sort of want to theorize about, talk about is how to sort of pick what ideas to work on, and how do you decide which is the idea that deserves your time and attention. The third is, oh my god, this is something that I'm gonna talk about a little, rant about a little, and it's this whole trend of like I tried editing like Emma Chamberlain and all of that. Like, I've seen a lot of videos blowing up recently. Like, a lot of them came on my recommended, probably because there was like a short phase, I think last month, where I was like obsessed with Emma Chamberlain. Last month, I think. And the last thing that we would be talking about is the whole NID, I am Ranchi, and like how college is going on right now, and my whole like transition thing. Because in the video, why I left NID, I didn't really discuss about the not issues, but sort of the mental side of things, like how my mental health was holding up, because it was absolute trash, and there were a lot of reasons behind it. NID's workload, for one, was a reason, but more than that, actually, you know what? I'm not going to dive into that right now. Let's dive into that much later. So let's talk about the name reveal, shall we? I started Vartalap on the 8th of May of 2020. And when I had started it, I thought that, hey, this is just going to be like a little podcast sort of thing that I'm going to do. And I was too embarrassed to like share it with my friends, or like have anybody in my friend circle, or just anybody know that it's actually me. So instead of using my real name, Bipasha, I said, you know what? A better idea is to use the name Maya, because Maya sounds cool and it has that sort of vibe to it. Thodi matlab, this little bit mysterious and cool. So I went with the name Maya, and for the longest time I thought I was going to be anonymous. And then, I don't know, something happened. I realized that like putting a face to a voice, or putting a face to something, really makes people engage more. And I got tired of sort of having this like separate identity. I remember at times it used to really mess with me, because people online would call me Maya and my real name wasn't Maya. I remember I used to go on this platform called Scenes. I have mentioned this before also. And over there, people used to call me Maya. And it took me a few seconds almost all the time to like remember and like respond to the name Maya, because that's not my real name. I've responded to the name Bipasha my whole life. So finally, I think it was after I decided that even before. So when I started Vartalap, I had not gotten into IIM, and I wanted to get into an IIM. And my whole plan was that, you know what, once I get into an IIM, I will reveal my name. And then that didn't happen, so I continued the whole Maya thing. And once I finally got into I am Ranchi, I thought it was a good idea to sort of, you know, end this, hey, like, my name is Maya, and actually say that, hey, my name's Bipasha. So that's why I finally did my name reveal, because I can talk about the college that I am in and all of that. So that was why I revealed my name relatively recently. Actually, my some people might be thinking that I revealed my name in Why I Left NID, but I had revealed my name at the end of I'm Not Anxious Anymore, because the end was at the end of the video I had written, shot, and edited by Bipasha. So yeah, that's that. It feels great to get that off your chest, like off my chest, because it feels weird to have a separate name that people recognize you by and call you as. I mean, some people even call me Vartalap, which is fine, honestly. Like, that's the name of like my Instagram, my YouTube, and you can call me Vartalap if you want to. At this point, I think I'm at that stage where it doesn't matter to me what people call me. You can call me Maya, you can call me Bipasha. I'll respond to either. Okay, now the next thing. So someone was talking about how to improve their sketching, and I am by no means a great sketcher. I don't consider sketching as one of my greatest skills. I think one of my not greatest is too polarizing a word, but one of the things that I think I'm pretty decent at is colors and understanding how colors work with each other. So I will give you the most generic sketching advice that I had gotten from, I think the second module, the faculty who was there in the second module that I had at NID. And in general, the sketching advice that I hear from everybody is, first of all, sketching, like any other thing, is a skill. And to be good at any skill, you have to practice it again and again. And I know this is the most cliche piece of advice that you will ever get, but you have to practice it to understand how to sketch properly, and to understand what are your weak spots, what are your strengths, and what are the things that you actually need to work on. Because the main issue with even that I used to face when it came to sketching is that what was in my head, I was not able to put it down on paper. And the issue with that was that I was not visualizing it fully in my head and then putting it on paper. Instead, I would just just jump the gun and be like, okay, I'm just going to draw now. So doing that. And also something that I started doing a lot more was drawing from life. So I know like right now, a lot of people are still stuck up at their homes and there's not a lot to draw from. Like you can't go out and maybe like go out, sit in a cafe and draw people and just like actually draw from life, where like things are changing constantly and your environment is something that you don't see every day. But what helped me a lot is drawing from life. So this was something that was a part of our module at NID, where you had to look at your house, like people in your house or just like objects around, and just like look at them, put it at an angle and observe them and then draw them. Now, do not take pictures and then draw things, because you see, when you're looking at something, when I'm looking at this camera, it's in 3 dimensions and there's a lot of information that's there. There's color and there's how light, and there's how light is like reflecting it, there's texture and all of that. So when you're trying to sort of put that on paper, you have to convert this whole 3D visual experience into 2D. And if you already have a picture, let's say I have taken a picture of this camera that I see right now, and then I draw it, then that 3D is already converted into 2D. So I have to use my skills much lesser. So maybe just like take a glass, or take your specs, or take just like something really simple and try to convert it from the 3D version that you see to 2D. And just like gradually over time understand what your weaknesses are in sketching, what your strengths are, what you need to improve. There are a ton of videos out there that you can use to practice from. And I, by no means, am an expert. My sketching is not good. It can be so much better. And I've said this before also. So just, you need to know what works for you. And then of course, practice makes better. Not perfect, but better. So just keep on practicing. That's the best piece of advice that I can give anybody. And that is also something I need to do. I need to practice my sketching much, much more, because, man, I really could benefit from that practice. Okay, Yes. Now, the next topic of discussion. I'm actually really bad at segues, which is why I've sort of like picked on these pointers and said, ki, acha, haan, I'm going to talk about this now and you guys can listen and I'll just like move from one topic to another. You have been warned. So, the third thing that I wanted to talk about is what ideas to pick and to work on. So, I have fortunately been in this stage where I don't have a dearth of ideas. तो ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है कि ideas कम हैं या मतलब I don't know what to make. But my issue mainly lies in, hey, I have all of these ideas. What do I pick to make? So which idea is the idea that I should actually work upon or I should actually realize? Because every idea, despite how close it may be to your heart, it's not worth executing. And then again, I mean, I wish I had the time to execute each and every single idea that like sparked some joy or like came to my head, but I don't have that kind of time. I'm still trying to figure out how to decide which idea should be executed. And I think the best example would be like videos. I have a video idea from I think mid last year or maybe even earlier, and still have not executed that. It's somewhere in the corner. But one thing that I sort of learned the hard way or just have made it a habit is, if in case I have any idea, I will make it a point to write it down, to document it, because maybe I don't want to make that idea right now, but let's say at some point in the future I don't have ideas anymore, or just all of a sudden I think, hey, you know what, that idea that I had like months ago, that was a good idea, I could probably execute that, or I have the skills to actually execute it much faster than I used to be able to execute ideas. So maybe just storing ideas in some way and coming up with your own system. I have started using Notion thanks to my friend Bhavesh. Shout out to Bhavesh. I've started using Notion, and that is like, Notion is such a great place to like store your ideas and just like keep track of them and all of that. And I'm still like understanding and learning Notion, but I had my own system that was like based on WhatsApp, like having a group with myself on WhatsApp and using a bullet journal and just like having like a separate sketchbook where I like record, like put down any composition idea that I ever had, and just like Instagram DMs pe a DM with myself. And I am glad that those days are over, because Notion is really helping me sort of streamline those ideas and then look at them. So if in case I'm at this stage where all of a sudden I have a spark, or all of a sudden one idea connects to another, I can easily like integrate it, or just, you know, sort of सारे beads को एक ही माला में पिरोना, just like putting all the beads in like one necklace and just making sense of it that way. And I think I depend a lot on the creative spark, or that like aha moment, to actually execute an idea and to be like, you know what, this is an idea that deserves to be executed. Which, I mean, I can't just depend on the aha moment for the rest of my life to decide which idea to execute. So I think I need to come up with some sort of like a systematic process of, hey, if this idea like still sparks joy or still makes sense a week after I've left it, that's when I should maybe like execute it, or like go ahead to planning it out and then seeing how to execute it. So I'm still figuring that out, because I don't think so creatives have a dearth of ideas. It's just the decision issue. Like, how do you decide which idea is worthwhile? And then again, when it comes to like content and like social media and stuff, there's that added element of, hey, is this idea something that people would give their attention to, or something that people would like? Because I have to admit it, like that plays if not like a overly significant role, that does play a role in my decision making of, hey, this would make like a snappy, this would be something people would be interested in. Like why I left NID, that was video that I know that matlab, I had fun making it, because there was that little skit in the starting, and in general, like, I got to articulate the answer to this question that a lot of people had. But how creatively satisfying that video was, not that much. I mean, actually, I really liked making that video. The sketch in the starting, I was glad that I did that, because I have never really done a sketch. Can it be considered a sketch? I think it's a sketch. I'm not really sure. Anyways, so I'm still figuring that out. But yes, if in case you're trying to like maintain your ideas and structure the whole process of, hey, this is like the composition that I have, and or matlab, hey, this is the video idea that I have, and this is the script. And because when I'm making like videos and scripts, usually it happens that like a thought comes, and then there's a visual or like some sort of like a sound or a song that sort of gets associated with it. And I used to like document all of that down in like this group that I made on WhatsApp that just had me and all of that. But now, because of Notion, the whole thing is a little bit more structured, and it's a lot more structured and sort of like comprehensive, because everything's like the visuals accompanying it, the songs, and like the script, all of that, I can see that at once. And that really helps, because sometimes like in WhatsApp chats, hell yes, your idea is going to get lost. In Notion, not so much, because it's much more structured. I've said the word structured maybe like 5 times in the past minute and a half. So moving on. Ooh, yes, the editing like Chamberlain. The editing like Emma Chamberlain trend. So I've been seeing a lot of videos. I think 2 were recommended. One was I tried editing like Emma Chamberlain, and one was I tried editing like Emma Chamberlain and Wes Anderson. And initially I saw it and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make a video like editing like Emma Chamberlain. And then after that, I sat down and I'm like, hey, no, I should make a video titled I'm tired of people editing like Emma Chamberlain. And I sort of wanted to again stress on the fact that people should stop just copying somebody else's style and actually apply their own uniqueness, apply their own pizzazz, for a lack of better words, to it, which I think that's not fair to say, because inherently, if suppose I even take Emma Chamberlain's editing style and I edit that way and post a video, the footage that's going to be there, it's going to be footage that I record, footage that I framed that particular scene. I thought of yes, these are the elements that should be, or this is out of everything that I could see at that particular moment, this is what my camera should point at. And this is the way, I should zoom in or zoom out, or this is the way that I should cut the shot to like this particular second. And when I do that, when anybody does that, it inherently becomes their own. But what probably got me really annoyed is that people were just jumping on a trend, which, again, we're on social media. I can't really blame people for jumping on a trend. But I just got annoyed that people weren't making it their own. And like just complaining about this again, it's a little hypocritical, because I've talked about why all of us are copycats, and I'm just being salty in a weird way. So that's that. I want to try editing like Emma Chamberlain. There was this one phase where I was like super obsessed with her vlogs, and the style of her vlogs. I'm not someone who likes watching vlogs. I don't know, like being obsessed with somebody else's life is not really my kind of thing. I like watching what people do, but then just, like seeing what they do each and every single like second of the day, or just like seeing somebody else's day. I want that mystery that I don't know what they do. Like maybe there's something more that I'll find out after I actually meet them. And cut to 2 weeks later, me actually making a vlog. Oh god, dude. I think everybody is a hypocrite, and I think I also am a little hypocritical. Of course, unintentionally. uh, yeah, but that was just my only complaint with that Emma Chamberlain. I tried editing like Emma Chamberlain trend that's been floating around. But I think I'll try editing it and just keep it to myself. Okay. Yes. With that being said, let's talk about leaving an ID and being at IIM. I am so glad to be a part of IIM Ranchi, and I'm so glad. Like, I can't even express that enough. And that's because last year when I didn't get into IIM Indore, I was devastated. And I remember the results came out just like a few days before NID started. And I mean, I was crying like hell. I was so sad because I'd been very hyper focused, or just very my that was the one thing that I really, really wanted, and I had worked really, really hard for. So when I didn't get it, I was really sad. And initially, like, as an ID started, it sort of like took a backtrack. I didn't think about it too much, and it was all okay. But then as sort of time progressed, the sadness sort of came over, that like, and I kept thinking that, hey, I'm not supposed to be here. Hey, this is not where I belong, and I should be at an IIM. This is not what I should be studying. And along with that, I can't make art 24/7. This is something I've realized, that I love art, and I most probably cannot live without making art. But if I'm put in a situation where that's the only thing that I have to do 24/7, 365, I will struggle a lot, and it will sort of like kill me on the inside a little bit, which is something that happened. I mean, art is something that I use as a form of expression and a form of relief. And when that became the one sole thing I had to do all of a sudden, like all of the time, it, like, I didn't have a sort of pressure release, because I don't have any other hobby as per se. Like, I don't sing, I don't dance or do anything like that. So that became a little bit of an issue. And then the workload at an ID is quite a bit. Like, it will help you get your work ethic sorted, especially in the first year, because Vatibu or Vatsal, who you guys probably know from like a couple of videos that we've done together, he's in the second year now, and we talk pretty often. And from what I've understood is that the second year is not as hard as the first year is, and the pressure and the amount of workload is much, much lesser. So, I mean, the pressure that I had in the few months that I spent over there, that got to me. And then this whole thing of, oh, I have to make art 24/7, 365. I really can't do it. I need something else to sort of release the like pressure, or release like, I don't know, the bottled up feelings and things that I needed to like just say out loud, communicate. That, along with the fact that I didn't get into the course that I wanted to go to, all of that sort of like started bubbling up, and it really affected me negatively. Like, my behavior changed. I think I fell off, like, I wasn't able to upload more. Or no, wait, I tried to escape all of that by making videos, and sort of like just not think about the whole thing that I wasn't in the institute that I really, really wanted to be in. I wasn't studying the subjects that I really, really wanted to. And funnily enough, not studying math made me so sad. And call me a nerd, I really don't care. But I enjoy math. I had math in 11th and 12th, and that was one of the subjects that I really, really enjoyed. So not having math, not having economics, it just made me sad. And with an ID, I did not have enough time to sort of go out and like just do math for fun. I didn't even have like, my plan was that when I would be in an ID, I would just continue to like do an ID ka kaam, and simultaneously I would also prepare for IPM and like do whatever IPM prep was required. And I did not have time to breathe, let alone prepare for a whole competitive exam, which is why it made sense to me to drop out. And then, as I've said before, I was lucky enough to get into another institute. I was lucky enough to go to DU and like do economics. And DU is much, much chiller, especially online. It's much, much chiller than NID was. So I had the time to sort of spend on working on the entrance exam and working on preparing for IPM. And now I am in IIM Ranchi. I think like by the time this goes up, I think 2 months will be over, or about 2 months. Like we're coming close to 2 months getting over. My midterms finally got over, and they went. They're done for now. We'll see how the results are. But I've really, really enjoyed my time. And something about IIM Ranchi that's actually really great is the fact that our course isn't very, very rigorous. It's not very, it doesn't overload you so much. So there is still you still get the chance and opportunity to do whatever you want, explore other things. And I mean, just like the purpose, I think, of the people who made the course the way it is to let us explore and understand who we are, where our interests lie, and then actually go ahead and pursue those interests. Which is, I mean, it's an absolute boon. After being in an institute like NID, I realized the value of a college actually giving you the time to explore things, be yourself, do whatever you want. And this by no means means that our course is easy or somehow like you can just wing it, because there's a lot of like, for someone who's interested and also just in general to just keep up with all of the work that's going on, you have to put in effort. You have to sort of like show up to class every day, make sure that you do all the work that needs to be done before and after class, read, study and all of that. But there's a considerable level of freedom that you get that I respect so much and I absolutely adore. So that's me. That's been me for the past few months. That sort of captures everything that I wanted to talk about. And this is the third time that I am filming the second episode of Life's Great and Other Lies. The first time I tried I recorded it with Vatsal. And we were just talking about a lot of stuff, and then things became irrelevant. So that's why that's not here. And the second time I went outside in public and I filmed the whole episode in public, only to realize later on that there were a bunch of kids that were shouting in the background. Apparently Sundays are not the best days to film outside in a park. So take notes, guys. That's been me for the past few months. This is all I had to say and talk about. I hope you had fun listening to this episode, listening to me ramble, and yeah. I turned the camera on mainly to record the outro. So until next time, this is your host, Bipasha, signing off. God, I loved saying that.